Welcome back, folks. We have the Dow Industrials up 106, NASDAQ up 72, S&P's up 13.5. Let's go over to our man, Mr. Steve Rhodes, as we do each and every Monday at 20 past the hour. Don't forget, folks, Steve has an outstanding show here every trading day, 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. Also has a great newsletter, Mastering Probability. And we are so proud of Steve. Steve is the 2018 Market Timer of the Year inside the S&P. We're throwing a celebration, folks, and the way we're throwing the celebration is that everyone can get a 14-day free trial. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if you've had a trial before. Bottom line, come over to our website at TFNN. You're going to go into featured content. You're going to see Mastering Probability. Bottom line, you hit Mastering Probability, and what you're going to see is subscribe will come up. You hit subscribe. You can get it for a month for $149. You can get it for 6 months at $695, which is a 22% discount. You can get it for a year for $1195, which is a 33% discount. In all those cases, folks, bottom line is that you're not going to be charged the first 14 days. If you like it, good, keep it. If you don't like it, bottom line, you know, you haven't lost anything, you've gained everything. Steve Rhodes, what's going on?
Well, when you talk about pride, how about the Patriots?
I'm telling you, man, it's amazing. Huh? And it's amazing. And you know, it's wild. If you saw the folks the beginning of the game, when they did a side view of Brady, I mean, he looked like the specimen, like he looked better than he's ever looked, man. I was looking at the side view like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this guy is just like a machine, man. I mean.
Well, you know, the reality is, and I love the cards that you do each and every day, and because there's truth in what it is that you're sharing with folks. And if you think about it, you know, so you took that example there of how Brady was looking. You know, if for those folks that play golf, that's kind of like my game.
Yes.
And imagine if you step up to a shot where you have conviction and belief behind the shot versus, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit that shot, right?
Right.
You know, and so the same kind of thing out there. But now, so I'm not a Patriot fan or not a Patriot fan. I don't have a skin in the game. I didn't grow up in that area. So what are you thinking going into halftime, and it's a 3-0 game, and then what are you thinking when the Rams start moving the ball downfield?
I know.
What's going through your mind?
Well, you know what? It's happened so many times that, you know, his stat, folks, goes like this. If you don't get him at the beginning of the game, what ends up happening is that he's 67.7% at the beginning of the game on passing. By the third and fourth quarter, he's 76.1. It's like, so it's like, okay, man, this is going to come downward again. What blows my mind is the pressure he can commit under. And I guess this is being spoiled, man. I mean, that, you know, you're watching the last minutes and you just know this guy's so intense, man. Like he's got
a good team. He's got a good group. I mean, there is a formula that they have been able to put together. The entire squad, right, from Kraft all the way down.
Sure.
Somehow there is just, I mean, you cannot argue with the formula and the dominance that is, you know, that is out there.
Right.
Whether you've got injured players, and you know, to a certain extent, we all can observe and learn from that, because it really is all about formula. And just being consistent. And that's what you taught me, quite frankly. You, Larry, David, Basil, Bud, everybody, because, you know, and being able to have belief in the tools that we use to be able to call the market. So it's interesting. Sure. Out here, we're talking about Google, or listening in on the early part of your opening. So if we take a look at Google, it is really interesting here, because you talk about getting back to ICE oftentimes, or getting back to where you were talking about the S&P, where it broke down. Take a look at Google. This is amazing. Its so-called downdraft, a little gap to the downside, was on that October 10th level. And folks, if you're not watching our screen, that price point was 1132.17. It's trading 1132.01 right now. I mean, it's really right here, where it's kind of like make it or break it. It did pass on this A to B equals CD that I have on my screen, and I'm using the swing point for January 8th, and there was 1.7 million shares, and it was passed with 1.9 million shares on January 18th. So, it is suggesting that it wants to trade up to that 1155 level, but it still needs to contend with this little so-called downdraft here of 2.6 million shares.
Yes.
So it's above resistance, folks. 1094 is the number I would be watching after earnings. If price were to get or close back underneath 1094, and really this chart here that we're looking at is just is U.S. normal trading hours. So what it does, as you know, we've both seen things trade differently in the pre-market or post-market. Yeah, when it comes to the cash market open, it could be a whole different thing out here. So in the case of Google, if it were to get below 1094 tomorrow, it could easily trade all the way down to 1047. But otherwise, this looks like it wants to move higher. Just as you were pointing out, with regard to the Qs out here, if I take a look at the Qs as the larger picture, and I look at the TAS market profiles, the daily and the weekly profiles, this is the NQ out here.
Yes.
And the NQ is above resistance there too as well. And the resistance there that folks should be watching would be 67.67. I think both you and I are sort of in the same mindset that we're anticipating that there's the completion of a pattern for a move lower, and we're just trying to identify, where is that level, and from my thinking, we're really close. We appear to be close, but there hasn't been a breakdown yet.
No, I know. We both know it can go right to the highs in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But your point is, and I don't know what the weighting really is in Google, and it doesn't really have to be. I'm sure it's in the top 5 weighting.
Yeah, it's a good one. Because what happens with Google, this is what happens. I think it's 10.something%. Because both Googles, folks, Google, you get the A, and then you get the Google.
Yes.
They both have the same weighting. So
yeah,
that's
like 4 or something. Yeah, exactly,
yeah, right.
Exactly. So, it will certainly be interesting to watch what takes place. I can see the NDX 100, in utilizing some of the work of Bud Rolfe's out here. Its next resistance level or horizontal trading range is at the 70.14 area. We're at 69.50. So getting up to that is nothing these days. I mean, the
it's
average,
nothing. And I'd love to see that too. I'd love to actually see that. I'd like to see Google come out with good numbers. I'd like to see the futures run tonight and still have the light volume, because then that would be good for me. That'd be saying that we could have a turn like pretty quick. So.
Yeah. So we'll just we know what different things you and I may look at a couple different things to look for, but they all end up coming together in the end out here. And so interesting stock chart to just simply take a look at Google, see what it's up against, and folks, take this opportunity for this next couple of weeks out here. Really, the offer ends next Sunday night. Try mastering probability. Even if you have been a subscriber, it's totally changed over the years out there. And my entire objective is to provide folks with different vehicles to look at for trading, helping people to manage their long-term portfolios. I've got short-term trading information that's out there every morning.
And you get those workshops that you did.
Yeah,
in there.
exactly.
Right.
So it's a good deal.
And so the way you do this, folks, you come over to our website at TFNN. You're going to see right under featured content, Mastering Probability. You bring that up. You hit subscribe. You can do a month, 6 months, a year. They all have 14-day free. So it'd be the 15th day. If you like it, which you will, you can stay right there. If you don't, guess what? You get charged nothing. Steve, Absolutely. You have a great one, safe one. We look for a show tomorrow.
Thanks, Tom. Take care.
Thank you. Stay right there, folks. Come right back.